A more direct answer, but like I said, there's like certain demeanors, right? And
yeah, I kind of put you on the spot with that one.
well, I
I'll
don't.
just explain my questioning
Yeah.
it. It's only because apparently right after the Bow hearing and the fact the judge didn't rule him out from being able to
Nino.
fly
Yeah.
aircraft, Snow said, "Oh, I think I'll try get a job working with teaching people to fly aircraft now." So he actively is aiming to get a license.
I mean, he might, but the air instructor has been. We've been pressing very heavily on focusing on civilians and using flight as like a rehabilitation, right? So, yes, in theory he could get one, but it's such a specific case that, like, I'm gonna leave that to LSPD. You wait. You do recognize? I don't know if you know this, but you know LSPD has a final say, right?
Oh, we have a final say, right?
Like
I didn't know
do, you do,
kinda...
and the flight does. It was written in a way where, let's say, the PD is like, "Yo, this guy really cannot have one." The king over there can literally say no.
Ah, interesting.
However, and this is why I was specific with my wording is, and don't take this any wrong way, but PD has, you guys are way better than BCSO. You guys, PD in general has a certain rot in them. And that is that there is an expectation or belief that y'all need to function sort of on a little bit too much on feeling and an equation. And what I specifically mean by this is I agree with your concern, right?
Mm-hmm.
But and King can say no. However, the reason the problem is a little complicated is that while you can say no, that still opens you up to litigation, right?
Yeah, just because we can say no, should we?
Exactly. And is there, you know, what is for the greater good? Maybe you do take a stance and you're like, no, we will not issue him a license because he's a potential whatever, you know, X, Y, and Z reason. So there, and that's kind of sometimes when it comes to legal stuff, I don't give like a immediate direct answer unless it's more of on a moral basis, because at the end of the day, I may stand on business on a moral ground, but it doesn't mean that that'll hold true on a legal ground, right?
Yeah. To be honest, I was more, when I was asking you the question, I know I put you on the spot a bit, but I was
I don't mind that, which is fine.
Yeah, it was more, I'm testing the room in there to see how much this information now gets out there about the question I asked. I've got my thoughts about some things going on in our department in BCS.
I mean, I already fucking know who it is. I don't understand why it's such a fucking mystery. Like, it's actually pissing me off. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
I got a few thoughts.
Listen,
but
look.
This is the thing. It may not just be one person.
No, it's probably a mix of the. Come over here.
Charlotte, it's just here. There's 2 SIM cards next to the lamp. Let me get a picture.
So let me first start off by saying I spoke to Daisy about, like, am I disappointed in LSPD, right? And a lot of this stemmed from where am I standing. Here's the thing, and I've said this from day one. I am supportive of you, but at the end of the day, I am the mayor of the entire city. If you're a cop, if you're a criminal, if you're a civilian, if you know, you're a fucking terrorist, I still am responsible. And as a defense attorney, I'm always going to be on the side of those that have the law pressed against them, because that is what I represent. And I believe that Los Santos Police Department should be a representative of law and order. And that's not like, you heard my conversation about, like, don't fucking find a reason to fuck someone over on bad faith with growing marijuana. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, how are you approaching it? Right? Like, oh, you know, hey, there's something missing here. They didn't 311. Can I find a way to fuck them over? That's not the approach. It's, is there a crime genuinely happening, and is this resolvable, or is this guy like actually selling drugs and trying to find a way to give it to gangs? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Now,
So basically, from me, you'll find I always will go after clear cases that mainly that other people are letting slip. Take what you were discussing. That Ventura wedding, class 2's on full display.
yes.
Now, technically, under our SOPs, they have no duty to report that unless a violent felony was being committed, which is a bit stupid in my mind. But we're talking about class 2's here, which I'm informed were actually pointed
Was
at members
probable-
of the crowd
it's-
as a
Yes.
threat.
As a
They
threat,
were used
probable
as
cause for
a threat.
yes.
So at that point, I think that it's now pushing into the you've probably got a duty to report it, and
Well,
they
you-
didn't.
I want to be duty to report does not mean that. So I don't, and I'm not trying to mansplain you or whatever, and I don't know you very well. That's why I'm explaining myself.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Duty to report means if you go and see a bank being robbed, you don't have to say, hey, this is being robbed. Morally, as someone whose job and moral compass should be around serving and protecting, if you're not mentioning that and you're like, fuck it, then morally you're doing something wrong. And I believe that high command, if they know that you're just like ignoring this shit, they'd also have the right to fire you because you're probably a dog shit cop. In my opinion, right?
I'll be there, man.
Now-
Just speaking to the mayor.
That would
Sorry.
be, they do not legally have to report that bank being
Yeah.
robbed, but
No,
it draws like whether you should be a police officer to begin with. But
Exactly.
this is
So
different
that's in
than,
the SOPs as opposed to legal requirement. So
well, legally you do not have a DD to report, but
yeah,
you know,
but as a cop, you
however, that's
even
not
with-
duty to report,
morally
brother.
you have. Yeah.
The way, if you in a situation when you are in a crowd and you are a part of said scene in which you are not only witnessing class 2s but the threat of it, and are witness to what do you call it, you're hiding a RICO. Raiden, thank you for the 19 months.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Now you're in
yeah.
corruption territory, because it's not exactly, you're really stretching the phrase duty to report at that point. You're literally obstructing justice on duty, right?
Yeah,
And
I
it's-
understand where you're coming
it's
from,
the
and that's why I've had them pictures that I know of get sent to me, and I may have to put it on the back burner for the next week or so because
Yeah.
I'm still dealing with the snow case and the information around the leaks involved in that. I got a few leads I'm working on there. I need to clear that up, and then I can get my focus onto this and look both into the criminals involved as well as the law enforcement officers involved.
Yeah. So, the reason I brought up that example, right, is to kind of set the tone of where my mind space is that when these things are sort of happening, and then I simultaneously am witness to what I believe officers within your umbrella, not just LSPD, but BCSO, intentionally felony obstruct as a part of that grander investigation, and the marshals felony obstruct, but legally speaking, y'all were dealing with a much bigger, broader situation, to the extent where when I spoke to Daisy, I understand that a lot of you guys put a lot of work in, but fundamentally that entire investigation is tainted from my eyes, right?
To be fair, the entire thing was tainted the moment we didn't apply for a night raid. And then went on in there with a justice who apparently was laying down on the sofa within the house.
Oh my God. So it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like I respect what you, Daisy, and Pitas are doing, but there's a part of me which is like, I'm watching you guys putting yourself on a cross, setting it on fire, and say, stab me. And, you know, and I'm just like, I feel enormously bad for you guys that you're even having to experience this while simultaneously watching people jerk each other off, watching the chaos ensue. You know, and
yeah, well,
so,
I am up for being on that cross. I'm one of these people that don't mind the heat, so fuck it. If they want to come at me, I welcome it. It's gonna get them nowhere.
That's good. So yeah. Yeah. So in regards to all that, I almost guarantee you that you're right, that it probably is multiple people, but in case it didn't come to you, and I drop this on Daisy, but I know she thinks I can speak in riddles sometimes, but that's because I'm not trying to put my name on it. Skyfae is the likely leak. I think you should look at the Croc document and the allegations of her leaking a previous Hydra raid. It is the second thing you should consider is that I myself, as with multiple people, were witness to a series of tweets sent out by Snow at before 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would estimate it went out around 7 or 8 a.m. if I remember correctly, the day after. So I know that raid kept until tsunami. I woke up the next morning. Snow had a shitload of knowledge of what had taken place with the twats, etc. So that lands to, well, shift 3, who in it has it, boom, boom, yada, yada. Yeah. There you go. So.
Okay. Yeah, but it's one of the names I have in mind.
Yeah.
But I'll keep what you said on the top of my mind as well.
Yeah. And I'm not expecting anything come out of it, but it's more the, like, at a certain point, like, fire the shot, right? Because...
Yes. So all I can do is give my findings on this to the chief and let her make her move. Beyond
1,000%.
Beyond that, it's out my hands.
I'm not expecting a firing, but it's more like at a certain point saying, man, I wonder who it is. It's like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, I plan on getting on duty during shift 3 and speaking to Sky directly. I'll probably do it under Miranda as well.
Yeah.
Just do it all fully securely done. And, well, honestly, I don't care about Garrity at this point. I'm thinking more Miranda in case I decide to push charges through the justice system, because if she is leaking a lot of information at that stage, I would definitely think about obstruction of justice because she's aiding the individual fleeing from us.
And it's in theory accessory after the fact. That said, for full clarity, I don't expect anything to come out of it, like not for any other reason than this genuinely could have been a mistake as well, right?
Which is...
It's easier for us on the outside to piece things together than it will be for the PD. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I mean, it could be one of them things that was just a conversation that someone had thinking nothing of it and Snow found out about it all. It could be that someone was listening into people's phone calls. There's so much stuff. It could be. I'm not jumping to conclusions, but I do have 3 names that I'm most keen on looking into currently.
All right, easy. All right, brother.
See how it goes. Anyway,
you ever have any questions? Do not hesitate to give me a call. Yeah.
No problem. Thanks for the chat, man.
Yep, anytime.